So if I have no longer any urge to have a reference point.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
This is me now that no longer has any urge.
No, I mean if I have no longer any.
But you're referring to a me that's there, are we? So that I know where I am with this. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, in general, if one has no longer any urge for having a reference point to solidify any point of view or anything, and one is, all fixation has dropped, then one is free.
Well, it's a funny way of describing it. I could never describe it like that.
No more reference point where you
what's a
identify with.
No, but there's a longing. You know, having no reference point wouldn't eliminate the longing to come home. Just means that you don't have any reference points about where home is or where it isn't. I don't understand the significance of having no reference.
So I think it was what he was saying about pointers, helpful methods.
There aren't any.
Yeah, so when I'm able to drop everything, I don't need it.
Well, you can't drop anything because you are the one that wants to gain something. Okay. Me can only function as the seeker of something. That's its function. If there's no me, then that whole function collapses with it. But all the time there is a me that's separate. Its only function is to seek home. That is what it's there for. It's an appearance, of course, but it has nothing. There's nothing else it can do but seek home.
I also cannot realize that there's no longer any fixation, or is that a fixation?
I don't see quite the relevance of what's a fixation? It's an
idea.
idea.
That I solidify things or reify things.
For me, a fixation is an idea about something fixed.
Yes, an idea or an emotion or a feeling.
It's a fairly shallow part of what we're talking about here. A fixation about an idea of something is really only information. We're talking about an embodied longing, an embodied separation that longs to come home. Fixation doesn't even come near it. It's just an idea. Longing isn't an idea, it's longing.
Can I not get fixed on life?
You can have a fixed idea if you like, you can have anything you like. But it's not, to me, it doesn't, it's so inconsequential to not be worth discussing, really, because I'm trying to say that the longing to come home is far deeper than an idea. The idea, I know people who come to these meetings and they drop the idea that they're going to become liberated, but it's still only a concept. They've dropped the fixation, if you like, of them becoming enlightened, but there's still a longing. It hasn't solved the longing. They can walk around and say, I'm not going to become enlightened anymore. But, there's still a longing in their body to come home.
But can I not be fixated on,
if you can be
on
anything
this longing,
you like.
this feeling?
You can be anything you like.
Yeah, but if this is no longer there, then it's...
Well, I've just explained that what is no longer there is the idea of you becoming enlightened. So you walk round having dropped the idea that you won't become, having dropped the idea that you will become enlightened. For a little while, it's quite a relief, but only for a little while. It's just another concept. This is beyond concept. This is beyond any pointers. This is beyond anything we're even talking about here. You can't talk about this. You can't get near this. You can't get near this because it's already everything. Wow.
You just said that stepping on the approach for an
the
earlier
direct
question.
approach. Yeah.
So just being in this movement to this approach, is it? So
There isn't anything that isn't it. There isn't anything that isn't it because it is everything.
So every second, or there's no second, but it's
everything is it. Everything, and everything is an awful lot. Everything is that, including the seeking of it. The seeking of it is it. Isn't that fabulous? That's fabulous. That's fabulous. Well, I think it is anyway.
Tony, can I just ask you, as you're speaking about longing there, it occurs to me that the longing, does it hide in a way by actually being there all the time, but not being observed, not being, like, it's actually there all the time, but sometimes it's only registered when it spikes in something big, you know, and you go, oh, you can feel the longing, but in fact, the truth is, if you're separate, then whether you're longing through a cup of tea or a comfortable place to sit, or it's there all the time.
All the time. Longing is a constant longing.
Yeah. It's not detected.
Often it's not detectable because it's overlaid by things that can happen. And don't forget, the other thing is that actually me is not a permanent fixture. In the day and in deep sleep, there is no me, there's no longing. In deep sleep, there's nothing that longs because there's nothing there at all. So every night we have a rest from being this absolutely ghastly me. But even in the day, there are things that are activities, and there can be times when there is no me, but that's not apparent, obviously, it just is.
If you were to feel, if you were to register, if the longing was registered as much as it's really there, the sense of vulnerability to it would be enormous. Really.
Yeah. But in some way or other, the neurology protects and balances and plays around, and so we seem to manage all right. In fact, the majority of people in the world today would say that this conversation we're having here is completely ridiculous.
It is.
Utterly ridiculous. Well, it is ridiculous for a joke. But, you know, because most people don't even know what we're talking about. Because most people aren't that sensitive to their longing.
But we're not really managing. People aren't really managing.
No, also. But then in simple terms, you know, that seems to have managed for a few years to get through, or be in that longing and live with it. Yeah.